I'm going to give you 5 big indicators as to why Jamaica is becoming a top investment hotspot. Number 1 being transportation. Now, in my previous video, I mentioned about the new airport that Jamaica is building in Negril. Jamaica has also put in a lot of money in improving the road transportation. Not only has money been put into improving the roads, so maintaining the roads, but also the actual transportation vehicles.
I'm not so wild going. They found 7 billion barrels of oil in Jamaica. And you heard nothing about it in the media. Look at this article. It was published on July 12th. So a few weeks later, cartel come out and everybody I load up themselves. This is the problem with y'all Jamaicans. Y'all want to be entertained instead of focusing on the things that could heal your pain.
Jamaica might be sitting on an estimated 7 billion barrels of oil, potentially worth $500 billion. And most people have no clue this is even happening. United Oil and Gas have been mapping offshore Jamaica, and they reckon it could rival Guyana's Game Changer. But here's the catch. They haven't drilled a single well yet. These are all estimates on paper. They want 50 million to start drilling, and the government just gave them 2 years to find the right partners. If they're right, this could be the first offshore drilling in Jamaica for over 40 years.
I remember reading information on how they were saying that Singapore was basically structured based on the blueprint for Jamaica. One tree, I hide under the tree a little bit. But I remember reading the information where they're saying that in the 60s, after Jamaica gained independence from Britain, the president of Singapore came to Jamaica to basically observe, take notes, you know what I mean? Learn from the Jamaican government and do the same for Singapore. And he came back to Singapore, and I think it was like 3 years or 5 years later. I want to correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, sometime later, Singapore was able to gain independence. And at that time, Jamaica and Singapore was basically in the same place. They were both poised for success. And now, from the 60s till now, only 4 years later, Jamaica still out here suffer.
While you were sleeping on Jamaica, Wall Street was not having a slumber at all. Between 2015 and 2025, Jamaica went from being that broke Caribbean island your parents sent barrels to the world's top performing stock market twice. American investors poured billions into resorts, real estate, and energy, while the diaspora sat on the sidelines watching the childhood neighborhoods get bought up by strangers. The same people who fled poverty and now priced out of prosperity. How did you guys miss your own homecoming? But here's the thing nobody's telling you. The window is not closed. It's just different now. And if you understand what happened, you can still win. So let me break down the $1 billion blueprint they didn't want the diaspora to see. I got a couple of clips here, people moving to Jamaica to invest, and then I will come back to talk about it in detail. So just sit down, relax. Let us watch the videos.
I'm going to give you 5 big indicators as to why Jamaica is becoming a top investment hotspot. Number 1 being transportation. Now, in my previous video, I mentioned about the new airport that Jamaica is building in Negril. Jamaica has also put in a lot of money in improving the road transportation. Not only has money been put into improving the roads, so maintaining the roads, but also the actual transportation vehicles. Number 2 is the property boom. Now, I'm sure most of us have seen these developments dotted around the whole of the island. And these are being created because the demand is there, not only for long-term rentals, but also short-term. So Airbnb, very popular in Jamaica. In 2024, over 4 million tourists actually stayed in Jamaica, and 30% of them stayed in Airbnb. So there's clearly the demand there for short-term rentals. And that demand also is an indication to people who want to invest and start their own short-term rentals. Whether you're a member of the diaspora or a foreign investor, that market has definitely been growing. Number 3 is diaspora investment and engagement. So you guys contributed to my findings. Just the interest there that the diaspora wants to go back home and we want to invest back home. And this is also quantified by how much money we send back home. Last year, Jamaica received over 3.36 billion US dollars in remittances. And typically, people from the diaspora are either investing in real estate or they're starting small businesses. Number 4 is tourism growth. Now, as I mentioned last year, Jamaica welcomed over 4 million tourists. Tourism market is definitely growing, it's definitely thriving, is the largest income source for the country, and it looks like it will continue to be so. And the last one is government incentives and programs. So anything the government is doing with some kind of incentive, whether it's a monetary incentive or something like a tax incentive, for example, either for foreigners, the diaspora, or locals. Just keeping an eye out what the government are doing and what they are offering. Sometimes these are hidden in plain sight, so you may need to go on the government website and have a look at the incentives, because some of them might be beneficial for you. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any other indications that you'd like to share, then drop them in the comments.
I'm not so wild. They found 7 billion barrels of oil in Jamaica, and you heard nothing about it in the media. Look at this article. It was published on July 12th. So a few weeks later, cartel come out and everybody I load up themselves. This is the problem with y'all Jamaicans. Y'all want to be entertained instead of focusing on the things that could heal your pain. 7 billion barrels of oil is equivalent to the length of 3.5 million football fields. And based on the current oil rates, it's equivalent to 3 times the current GDP of Jamaica. This can be a game changer. But Tande, I worry about man with no business, boy, yo. Y'all steady focusing on the things that don't matter, and that's why you're getting misused and abused. But if we come together and unite and do what's right, then we can't lose.
Jamaica might be sitting on an estimated 7 billion barrels of oil, potentially worth $500 billion. And most people have no clue this is even happening. United Oil and Gas have been mapping offshore Jamaica, and they reckon it could rival Guyana's game changer. But here's the catch. They haven't drilled a single well yet. These are all estimates on paper. They want 50 million to start drilling, and the government just gave them 2 years to find the right partners. If they're right, this could be the first offshore drilling in Jamaica for over 40 years. $500 billion potentially. That's about 26 times Jamaica's entire GDP. Correct me if I'm wrong. But here's what's not making the headlines. This isn't just about oil. It could be about displacement. Tourism's already pricing out locals. Now imagine when international oil money floods in. Rent goes up. Communities get moved. But let's be real. There may be some upsides. Nigeria's oil employs over 65,000 people. For Jamaica, thousands of jobs, billions in revenue, energy independence. So what does this mean for you? If you're Jamaican, think about where this money flows. Construction, logistics, tech, legal services. Get skilled in oil support sectors. Watch the property game, coastal areas, industrial zones. That's where the action will be. If you're looking from the outside in, Jamaica just became a very different investment story. This is either generational wealth or generational displacement. The question isn't whether or not it's happening, it's whether you'll position yourself in case it does to benefit, or just watch it from the sidelines. What's your take? Is this an opportunity or a trap? This isn't investment advice, by the way. And don't forget that oil companies often overzealous on their numbers. Don't scroll. Let's speak in the comment section.
So guys, I'm currently in Singapore. It's raining, so if you see like water drops on me, that's why. And it just sparked a thought in my brain where I remember reading information on how they were saying that Singapore was basically structured based on the blueprint for Jamaica. One tree, I hide another tree a little bit. But I remember reading the information where they're saying that in the 60s, after Jamaica gained independence from Britain, the president of Singapore came to Jamaica to basically observe, take notes, you know what I mean? Learn from the Jamaican government and do the same for Singapore. And he came back to Singapore, and I think it was like 3 years or 5 years later. I want to correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, sometime later, Singapore was able to gain independence. And at that time, Jamaica and Singapore was basically in the same place. They were both poised for success. And now, from the 60s till now, only for years later, Jamaica still out here suffer, and Singapore has developed into this amazing first world country that so many other countries are trying to be like, and Jamaica just out here just there. Because me just watch a video with the Ministry of Finance saying that they're going to lift the they're going to increase the threshold on the import of, what is it? When you're coming to Jamaica, you used to get $500. Now they might increase it to $1,000. And when you buy things off of Amazon, or so they must switch it from $50 to $100. And I believe they did that not to make the country better or to encourage people to do better, but just to get votes. And me just look on here and I said that's the reason why we can't better. That's the reason why we can't reach it, because we have the same blueprint. So if it two we have the same cheat sheet, why only one somebody will pass the test? Another perfect example of this is with Devanos. Because from what I can see, Singapore prioritizes the environment, saving the environment, preserving the environment. So you find in the airport and everywhere there is lots of trees planted, and it's like them take every chance them get to ensure say we get 100% oxygen. Look on Devon, historic. Singapore is a new place, you know. They don't have as much history as Jamaica. And look on Devon, somewhere that we should consider preserving as part of the history of Jamaica. Devon, where a lot of tourists come to Jamaica and book tours to go and experience the Jamaican ice cream and learn about I don't remember who did own Devon, but yeah, book tours and whatever. I did the tour once and it was really entertaining, so I know the tourists will like it too. So them take a place like that and them mow down all of the tree them and pave over the whole thing. Like, ooh, I come up with them ideas here. Jamaica is, if I should put a number on it based on what I see, we're what? It's probably like 80% dependent on tourism. That's why when COVID comes, so much people are suffer, so much people hungry. We don't have no other economy because we sell off everything. We sell off the ports. We sell off the mining of bauxite and the production of aluminum. We sell off the airlines that we have. We sell off the airports because enough people know say, I know Jamaica manage the airport. Them, you know, that's why we don't have no AC for months and nothing happen because enough feed them money. I invest in it. You don't know what going to happen. Something needs to change with this Jamaica we live in, because I can't, this a place here, get the same blueprint. As a matter of fact, and I get the same blueprint is Jamaica blueprint, and them copy Jamaica blueprint and implement it so well. Jesus. But Jamaica can't seem to make one road pave.
So I feel like I have to address this comment. You know, I always realize people that tell you to invest, no money. Listen, the people that invest seems like they don't have any money because they're investing for a purpose. Whether it is to buy a house, send their children to university in the future, or for retirement. It's long-term investing to grow your money over a long period of time. So a lot of people, when they get the money, they use it to buy a house. So it would seem as if they don't have any money because they use it to buy their house, their first house, or maybe their second house, or an investment property, whatever it is. And then you have the people who use the money when they retire. After they retire now, they go and they take the money and they live off that for their retirement. So investing is not for people who are looking for a steady lump sum income each month. Even though you can get dividends every 3 months, but it depends on if you buy a lot of shares in the company. All right. So investing is not a get-rich-quick scheme. No, it is to give you a stable financial backing or something to stand on financially later on in life. Okay, that's what it is. So if I'm investing and I get $3, $4, $5 million, and then I go and I buy a house, obviously the money done. But investing helped me to acquire that home. That's why we invest, to help us to achieve our goals. Because a lot of people don't have businesses. They're not making a whole lot of money every single month from a business or from a job. So they have to try and do things a different way to help them to achieve their goals faster. Because not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. And not everybody's going to be rich, or not everybody's going to be born wealthy. So what are they going to do? What should those people do to help them to achieve their goals? Invest.
So here's another reason why I purchased my property in Jamaica. Before I started going to Jamaica, I weighed over 242 pounds. See, now I'm 215 pounds. I came off the resort and I started to engage with the community. The community took me in. They fed me. They taught me how to eat foods that were beneficial to my body. See, we as Americans, we as Black Americans, We have a superficial way of looking at things. Going to Jamaica and engaging with the community, it wasn't one-dimensional. It cost Jamaicans more to eat processed foods and fast foods in their country. In the United States, the fast foods are cheaper and the healthier foods are more expensive. It's like it's reversed. That alone makes them that much more healthier. Jamaicans don't have a huge transit system like we have here in Chicago. We have CTA, we have the trains, we have the buses, we have Ubers. The average Jamaican walks 2 to 3 miles a day just to get to transportation to get to work. Not to mention that they have to walk that same distance to get home. I ended up adopting the Caribbean cuisine, the way that the Jamaican people eat, and made it my own.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. And the Jamaica Stock Exchange market outperformed every other exchange on earth, not once but 2 times. American capital flooded in 3.8 billion in hotel projects, Chinese infrastructure money, renewable energy farms, and real estate prices that doubled in Kingston alone. Meanwhile, the diaspora, there's some people who bled for the soil, who sent remittances that kept the economy alive. They sat down on the sidelines watching their childhood neighborhoods get gentrified by people who can't even pronounce Portmore correctly. So, allow me to break down this thing that made Jamaica be an investment hotspot. Let me take you back to 2015. Jamaica was just broke, and I mean structural broke. Public debt was 140% of GDP. Youth unemployment was through the roof, skyrocketing. People were still migrating in waves because there was simply no economic future at home. If you had money, you were investing in Miami condos or Toronto real estate, not Kingston, but something quietly shifted. Jamaica entered an IMF program. Yeah, that one IMF, you know, the same people who usually wreck economies, but this time they actually did something right. The government implemented fiscal reforms, structured debt, and created a fiscal responsibility law that kept how much they would borrow. For the first time in decades, Jamaica had economic discipline. So the market responded. By 2018, the Jamaican Stock Exchange market was the #1 performing stock market in the entire world. Not just the Caribbean, the world. The market cap tripled. Foreign investment doubled. Unemployment dropped from 13.5% to 4.5% by 2023. Tourism exploded from 2.1 million visitors in 2015 to over 4 million visitors by 2024. Sandals, Hard Rock, Secrets Resort, Princess, everybody started building. Chinese money built highways and ports. American pension funds started buying Jamaican bonds. Even oil was discovered offshore in 2024. Billions of barrels, by the way. But here's that is what nobody is going to tell you. While all this was happening, land prices in Kingston went up 120%. Montego Bay became a tech hub with call centers and BPO operations. The creative economy, music, film, digital content creation started pulling real international money. And you guys missed it. Why? First, you are still operating on 1995 information. Most diaspora folks still see Jamaica through the lens of when they left. Crime, corruption, nothing ever works. You didn't notice that Wi-Fi got faster, that you can now buy stocks on your phone through the JSC app, that property charges are being digitized, that the government actually started delivering on infrastructure. While you were busy telling your kids, don't move back home, there is nothing there. Hedge funds were opening Jamaica-focused portfolios. Number 2, you got out-hustled by people who understood the fundamentals. Look at the numbers. Debt to GDP dropped from 140 to 75%. Foreign reserves more than doubled. Inflation got cut in half. GDP per capita went from $5,000 to nearly $7,000. These are not just small numbers. This is structural transformation. American investors saw a stable English-speaking business-friendly country 90 minutes from Miami with a young population, strong tourism, and untapped resources. They saw what you guys couldn't see because you were too busy carrying trauma from the 1980s. Number 3, the game changed, but you're still playing by the old rules. You can't just buy a yard in Stonehill for cheap anymore and wait. You need to understand that JSE Junior Market, the SEZ Special Economic Zone, incentives, the film tax credits, and renewable energy PPS, power purchase agreements, you need to know that Winton Wind Farm went public and made early investors wealthy. That the logistics sector is booming because Jamaica is positioning itself as a transshipment hub. But here is the good news. The opportunity is not gone. It's evolved, and if you're willing to learn the new playbook, you can still win. Let me tell you something personal. I have a friend who lives in Jamaica, and their family left in Jamaica in the 90s during the roughest years. And their parents worked 3 jobs between them in New York so they could eat. Every Christmas, he told me that they could send barrels, rice, oil, clothes, school supplies, anything at all. And they were told that Jamaica was the place they escaped from and the place your wealth is not building. And for far too long, that time was true. But somewhere between their parents' generation and fleeing and our generation romanticizing the culture, they lost the plot. They became tourists in their own homeland. They'd fly for carnival, post pictures at Dance River Falls, then fly back to their real lives, pathetic lives in America. And meanwhile, people who had no emotional connection to that soil, venture capitalists, hotel chains, energy companies, they were building the future, Jamaica's future, and they were doing to own. I mean, they were going to own it unless you guys wake up. And this is not about nationalism or some buy black guilt trip. This is about recognizing that the global capital system is amoral. It goes where the returns are, and right now those returns are in Jamaica. The question is, do you guys want to be owners or do you guys want to be guests? Here's what breaks my heart. I see diaspora aunties and uncles who work themselves to the bone in America, saved every penny, dreaming of retiring back home, but now they can't afford the same neighborhoods they grew up in. You know, when you see young Jamaicans with tech skills and creative talent leaving because they think the opportunity is still only abroad, while American companies are literally setting up offices in Kingston to tap the same talent for cheaper. You're told watching your birthright get auctioned off because you are too busy traumatized by the past to see the present clearly. But let me tell you something. Jamaica didn't transform despite the diaspora. It transformed partially because of you. Your remittances kept families afloat during the hard years. Your cultural exports, music, food, style made Jamaican globally relevant. Your pressure on politicians from abroad kept some level of accountability back at home. And you have earned a seat at the table. But you have to actually show up, not as tourists, but as charity cases. But to be informed investors who understand that national building and wealth building are the same thing. So here's your action plan. Number one, you need to educate yourself, study the Jamaica Stock Exchange market, understand the sectors that are actually growing, renewable energy, logistics, digital services, tourism, adjacent real estate. Follow the data, not the vibes. Number two, start small but be strategic. You don't need $1 million. Open a brokerage account that gives you access to the JSE. Buy shares in infrastructure companies, banks, or ETFs if they become available. Look at fractional real estate investments, opportunities through diaspora-focused platforms. Number three, build relationships with people on the ground who know the new Jamaica, not just family, but lawyers, accountants, developers, entrepreneurs who are navigating the reformed systems. Number four, hedge your bets. Jamaica is still a small, vulnerable economy. Climate change is real. Hurricanes can wipe out value overnight. Currency fluctuates. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but don't ignore the basket entirely. Look, I'm not saying Jamaica is perfect. Corruption still exists. Bureaucracy is still slow. Crime in certain areas is still real, but transformation is messy. The countries that cleaned up and became safe for investment, they also became expensive and exclusionary. Right now, yes, right now there is a window where you can participate in Jamaica's rise while it is still getting in at a reasonable price. But that window is closing. Every year you wait, it gets narrower and narrower and narrower. But the question is not whether Jamaica is investable. Wall Street already answered that. The question is, will you let outsiders own your heritage, or will you claim your stake in the future? Drop a comment down below if you're ready to start researching. Share this with someone in the diaspora who needs to hear it. And if you want to break down specific sectors, GSC stocks, real estate hotspots, renewable energy plays, let me know. Maybe I can do a video about that, because the new Jamaica is being built right now and you deserve to be part of it. Welcome to the Bantu Merchant. Let us build together. Next up, I'll talk about why our diaspora, African diaspora, are moving back to Africa, and in countries like Kenya, people are choosing to go to South Africa, Nigeria, and many other countries. And also, there is a video coming up too about investors who are also choosing, not only choosing Jamaica, but are also choosing Africa, especially in the countries where their GDP has shown to be growing in the past 10 years. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for 2,000 subscribers. I can see we are cruising nicely, and I hope we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for making me your favorite channel and your favorite host to explain things to you about Afro-Caribbean diaspora and African diaspora. This is where the motherland connects to the West. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Peace out.